What if I told you that a single angel, yes, just one, once wiped out an entire empire in a single night? What if history tried to bury this story, and only ancient manuscripts preserved what truly happened? Today, you're about to hear the forgotten account of the angel who destroyed the greatest military power of his era, an event so terrifying that kings, prophets, and scribes struggled to describe what they witnessed. But before we begin, tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this video? Your answer helps this message reach even more people who love hidden biblical mysteries. Now, prepare yourself, because this is not a story of swords, armies, or human bravery. This is a story of divine intervention, of cosmic justice, and of the night when heaven itself descended to defend a nation on the brink of extinction. This is the true story of the angel who destroyed an entire empire. Centuries ago, the world trembled before one unstoppable force, the Assyrian Empire, a kingdom built on brutality, terror, and conquest. Their soldiers were feared as the most ruthless in existence. Their kings believed themselves invincible, chosen by their gods to dominate the earth. Under King Sennacherib, Assyria had already crushed nations, burned cities, enslaved kingdoms, and humiliated kings. Wherever the Assyrian army marched, resistance collapsed. Their strategy was simple: submit or be erased from history. And now, they set their eyes on a small, seemingly insignificant city, Jerusalem. To the world, Jerusalem was nothing. To Assyria, it was just another name to add to the long list of conquered lands. But to heaven, it was something else entirely. The king of Judah, Hezekiah, faced the greatest crisis in his nation's history. The Assyrian war machine had already destroyed 46 fortified cities around him. Town after town burned. Families were dragged away in chains. The walls of Jerusalem shook with fear as Assyria deployed 185,000 elite soldiers outside the gates. The Assyrian commander shouted curses at the people of Judah, mocking their faith, mocking their God, and promising their destruction. To the Assyrians, this was already decided. To Judah, this seemed hopeless. Hezekiah did the only thing he could. He prayed. He took the threatening letter sent by Sennacherib, spread it before the Lord, and cried out, not for victory but for deliverance, for mercy, for survival. And heaven listened. The prophet Isaiah delivered God's answer. Jerusalem would not fall. The king of Assyria would be turned back, for God himself would defend his city. But the way he would defend it was something no one, no king, no soldier, no empire would ever forget. Because God didn't send storms, he didn't send plagues, he didn't send earthquakes, he sent an angel, one, single, celestial, a being whose power human language struggles to describe, a creature of divine fire formed before the foundations of the world, whose true strength is unimaginable to mortals. This angel was not sent as a messenger, not as a protector. Tonight, he was sent as an instrument of judgment. Across the Assyrian camp, soldiers feasted, sharpened weapons, and prepared for the final assault. Their captains planned strategies, their banners waved proudly, their torches illuminated the night like a sea of stars. They expected another easy victory at dawn. They never saw the angel coming. No human eye could have perceived the shift in the air. No ear could have detected the whisper of divine presence. No mind could have understood the magnitude of what was about to happen. The angel moved silently, like a shadow woven from the breath of God himself. And then it began. The night the empire fell. Ancient texts describe it with trembling words. Some say the angel carried a sword made of pure light. Others say death followed him like a consuming fire. Some manuscripts speak of a wind, invisible, divine, unstoppable, sweeping through the camp. But all sources agree on one thing. When the sun rose the next morning, 185,000 Assyrian soldiers lay dead without a battle. without a fight, without a single human lifting a sword. The greatest army in the world was erased by one angel, one servant of the Almighty. Sennacherib, the king who once believed himself invincible, the king who mocked the God of Israel, the king who thought he could conquer the world, woke up to a nightmare beyond imagination. His army was gone. His power was shattered. His pride was crushed. The mighty ruler of Assyria fled back to Nineveh in disgrace, and history records that he never recovered from the terror of that night. Even his own sons eventually assassinated him in the temple of his god, the final sign that no empire built on arrogance stands forever. Jerusalem was saved. Hezekiah's prayer was answered. The world witnessed a miracle that became legend, but the true question remains: who was this angel? What kind of celestial being could destroy an empire alone? And why was he sent on that night, of all nights? The night the Assyrian Empire fell by the hand of a single celestial being is one of the most mysterious and astonishing episodes in ancient history. But understanding who this angel was and why he carried such overwhelming power opens a door to revelations few people have ever considered. For centuries, scholars, rabbis, theologians, and historians debated the identity of the being who destroyed 185,000 warriors in one night. Something no human army, no natural disaster, and no earthly force could ever achieve. Some called him the Angel of Death. Others believed he was the commander of the Lord's armies. Some ancient texts suggest he may have been the same angel who appeared at the burning bush, or the angel who struck Egypt during the Passover. But among all the theories, one stands above the rest. There is a name whispered through Jewish tradition, a name spoken with awe and fear: Malach Adonai, the angel of the Lord. This is not just any angel, not a messenger, not a guardian, not a servant. This is the angel who speaks as God, acts with God's authority, and carries the full weight of divine power. He appears throughout Scripture, not as a simple celestial being, but as a manifestation of heavenly will, a bridge between the visible and the invisible. And on the night the Assyrian army prepared to annihilate Jerusalem, it was this angel who descended upon their camp. But the question is, what triggered this intervention? Why did heaven step directly into human history at this moment? To understand that, we must revisit the deeper meaning of Assyria's arrogance and the cosmic consequences it unleashed. Why this angel intervened? The arrogance that shook the heavens. King Sennacherib didn't merely threaten Jerusalem. He challenged the very identity of Israel's God. He mocked him. He defied him. He dared him. The Assyrian king believed no deity could resist his empire. Kingdom after kingdom had fallen before him. Temples were reduced to ashes. Sacred artifacts became trophies in his palace. To Sennacherib, the God of Israel was just another defeated name waiting to be added to his list. But there was one thing he didn't understand. Israel's God was not like the gods of the nations. The God of Israel was the creator, the one who shaped stars from nothing, the one who raised empires and brought others down, the one whose sovereignty extended far beyond human politics or military strength. When Sennacherib insulted this God, when he ridiculed him as weak, when he cursed Jerusalem, when he declared himself invincible, he crossed a line. This was no longer a political conflict, it became a cosmic confrontation, and heaven responded. The mission of the angel was clear: protect the remnant, defend the promise, preserve the line of destiny. Jerusalem could not fall, not because of its walls, not because of its king, but because the story of redemption, the story stretching from Abraham to David to the Messiah, depended on its survival. If Assyria succeeded, if Jerusalem was destroyed, if the bloodline was wiped out, the entire plan of salvation would collapse. This was far bigger than politics, far bigger than empires. This was about the unfolding of a divine narrative that began before the creation of the world. And so the angel came, not merely to punish, but to protect the divine purpose written into history itself. What happened that night wasn't random, it wasn't disease, it wasn't plague, it was precision. The angel's judgment fell exclusively on the Assyrian soldiers, not on the innocent, not on the surrounding population, not on Jerusalem. This selective strike reveals something profound about the nature of celestial beings. They are not forces of chaos. They are instruments of order. Their power is vast, but it is directed, intentional, purposeful. The angel didn't act out of wrath alone. He acted out of justice, and his power, a power that could annihilate the world if unleashed, was wielded with terrifying accuracy. Imagine waking up in the Assyrian camp that morning. Imagine seeing your entire army, the strongest military force on earth, struck down without warning, without noise, without battle. The few who survived fled in terror, spreading stories of what they had witnessed. These accounts traveled through cities and nations, inspiring fear wherever they went. For decades afterward, inscriptions across the ancient Near East record something unusual. Assyria stopped conquering Judah. The empire that once consumed nations like fire suddenly changed course. The blow delivered by the angel had permanently altered their confidence, but the shock didn't end there. In Nineveh, priests and counselors tried to interpret what had happened. Was it a curse? A sign from the gods? A rebellion of the heavens? Sennacherib, once the most arrogant ruler on earth, became a haunted man. He never again boasted about Jerusalem, never again claimed victory over its God. And years later, in a twist saturated with irony and justice, he was murdered inside the temple of his own God, the same God he claimed would give him victory over Israel's God. He died exactly as the prophet Isaiah foretold. The destruction of the Assyrian army was not just an act of justice. It was a message to every empire, every king, every generation. No power on earth can stand against the will of heaven. No army can defeat a single angel of the Almighty. No kingdom built on arrogance endures. And yet, the angel who destroyed an empire was also the angel who protected the innocent, the angel who upheld divine promises, the angel who acted not out of cruelty, but out of cosmic purpose. What happened on the night the Assyrian Empire collapsed was so extraordinary, so unimaginable, that ancient scribes struggled to put it into words. But as we explore the surviving manuscripts, biblical, historical, and extra-biblical, a pattern emerges. A deeper story, a message that echoes across time, revealing that this angel was not simply a being of war, but a guardian of destiny. And if you stay with me until the end of this block, you'll see that what happened that night is not just history. It is a prophecy and a declaration about the unseen forces still at work in the world today. The same angel appearing throughout history. Many scholars believe that the angel who destroyed the Assyrian army is the same celestial being who appears at critical moments throughout Scripture, moments when human history hung on a fragile thread. 1. The angel who struck Egypt, Exodus 12. During the night of Passover, an angel swept through Egypt, executing judgment while sparing those marked by faith. The parallel is unmistakable. Divine precision, a single night that changed history. 2. The angel who appeared to Joshua, Joshua 5. The commander of the Lord's armies revealed himself before the conquest of Jericho. His sword was already drawn. He declared holy ground. His presence marked the beginning of a divinely guided victory. 3. The angel who shut the lions' mouths, Daniel 6. Daniel testified that an angel protected him through the night, a defender, not a destroyer, proving that the power of this celestial being flows in both justice and mercy. 4. The angel who spoke to Gideon. When Israel was oppressed, a mysterious angel appeared, calling Gideon a mighty warrior and declaring that the Lord himself would deliver his people. Across all these stories, the patterns align, speaks with divine authority, moves without human assistance. This is the same kind of presence that descended on the Assyrian camp, a presence that the ancient world feared, respected, and never forgot. The symbolism of the fall of Assyria. The destruction of the Assyrian army was more than an act of judgment. It was a symbolic declaration written across the fabric of history. 1. Human arrogance will always collide with divine sovereignty. Assyria represented human pride at its peak, an empire that believed it could conquer even God. But arrogance has an expiration date. This moment stands as a reminder that every kingdom has limits except one, the kingdom of heaven. 2. God defends his purpose, not human plans. Jerusalem survived not because it was strong, but because it was chosen, because the promise of redemption ran through it, because history itself depended on the survival of a single bloodline. 3. One angel is enough. The modern world often imagines angels as soft, gentle, delicate beings, but ancient scripture paints a different picture. One angel is enough to reshape nations, defeat armies, and alter the course of history. This was a warning to the ancient world, and it is a warning to the present one as well. The psychological and political impact on the world. The fall of 185,000 soldiers wasn't just a tragedy for Assyria, it reshaped the ancient geopolitical map. 1. Assyria's confidence was permanently broken. Their campaigns slowed, and within decades, the empire collapsed under its own instability, a fall that began the night their army was erased. 2. Jerusalem's faith was reignited. For generations afterward, the story of the angel became evidence that God fought for his people. It strengthened worship, renewed devotion, and shown that heaven wasn't silent. It was watching. 3. Other empires took notice. Egypt, Babylon, Persia, all heard it had divine protection, and attacking it meant inviting judgment. He reshaped the consciousness of multiple civilizations. What this story means for us today. This story isn't just historical. 1. You are never outnumbered. When you are with God, Hezekiah looked doomed. No alliances, and yet one prayer summoned an intervention that destroyed the greatest army on earth. When life surrounds you with 185,000 reasons to give up, remember, God only needs one reason to deliver you. 2. Invisible beings still move in the unseen world. Scripture never teaches that angels stopped working, never says their power diminished. If one angel could collapse an empire, imagine what God can still do in your life, your family, your destiny. 3. God's timing is precise. The angel did not come early. He came at the exact moment when the promise was in danger. Sometimes God waits until the last moment, not because he is slow, but because he is preparing a victory that will leave no doubt about its source. If the angel who destroyed Assyria could speak today, his message would echo across centuries. No force on earth can stand where God has declared purpose. This is not just a story of judgment, a story of the unseen battle between earthly pride and divine purpose. And in the darkest night, when the world seems to be closing in, remember this. One angel is enough. One moment with God is enough to change everything. And so the empire that believed itself unstoppable fell in silence, not by swords. This is the story no one teaches. A story of divine justice and the angel who changed the fate of nations. If this story moved you, don't leave without commenting. Do you believe angels still intervene today? Your answer will help this message reach thousands who need to hear it.